Desperate for acceptance, how 5 minutes with a millionaire CEO transformed a girl's life forever. In a small town where sidewalks creak beneath the weight of dreams deferred, 17-year-old Lily stood at the community fair, a picture of hope against a backdrop of fried dough and laughter. With the sun pouring down, she could almost forget the world, the struggles of her family overshadowed by her mother's long hours at the diner and her father's distant military service. But on this day, everything felt different. She wandered through booths, the aroma of cotton candy sweetening the bitter taste of self-doubt. That was when she met Mark Thompson, a millionaire CEO, glistening with charm and the promise of a dream. 5 minutes, he said, a warm smile playing on his lips, is all it takes to change a life. Those words reverberated in her heart. As they talked, Mark shared his own journey from a boy who once stared at the same stars, dreaming of something more, to the man he became. His story carried a weight that pushed aside the doubts gnawing at Lily's insides. "I didn't let my past define me," he said, his eyes twinkling with possibility. In that moment, she felt a spark of belief igniting within her that she too could claw her way out from the chains of her upbringing. With newfound determination, Lily took charge of her life. She juggled her studies with a part-time job at the diner. Each exam, each shift, felt a little lighter as she envisioned future scholarships. But then came the whispers. "Look at her," they would say, their voices laced with judgment. "She thinks she's better than us." The weight of their disdain was heavy, pushing her to question her worth, the very foundation of her dreams. Then the ground fell out from beneath her when an unseen setback hit. An unexpected failed exam felt like the universe slamming a door in her face. Rumors swirled around her like storm clouds, and Lily struggled to see through the darkness. Just as she began envisioning the light at the end of her struggle, she found herself questioning everything. Did she really have what it takes to succeed? In her deepest despair, Lily stood at a crossroads. But maybe, just maybe, the battle wasn't just hers. With every ounce of courage swelling inside, she realized that her journey was larger than herself. It was a fight against the very heart of her community's misguided perceptions. So there she was, ready to address the townsfolk who had always seen her through a scribbled lens of skepticism. With her heart pounding in her chest, the crowd hushed, anticipation hanging in the air. Could she be the voice to challenge the tidal wave of prejudice? Just as she inhaled, ready to share her heart and her truth, an unexpected interruption cut through the moment, shaking her world yet again and leaving her dangling on the edge of hope and fear, grasping for a future that felt both vibrant and elusive. The whispering crowd was suddenly drowned out by a crackle of laughter and the unmistakable roar of a motorcycle engine. Everyone turned, startled and curious, as a shiny black bike pulled up a few feet away. Its rider, a tangle of leather jacket and tousled hair, dismounted with a swagger that caught everyone off guard. Everyone but Lily. Her heart sank. It was Jake, the boy who made it his mission to rile her up since childhood. Well, look what the cat dragged in," he said, smirking as he sauntered closer. The crowd's attention shifted, their eyes darting between Lily and Jake. She could feel the familiar heat of embarrassment rushing to her cheeks, but she fought to keep her composure. This wasn't the time for his games. Not when she felt on the brink of something big. She had rehearsed her thoughts 1,000 times, each sentence carefully crafted to break free from the weight of doubt. But Jake's presence threatened to unravel everything. "What's the matter, princess?" he taunted, crossing his arms. "You think you can stand up here and be something special? You're just a waitress, aren't you? What do you know about success?" His voice dripped with condescension, and the crowd shifted uneasily, waiting for her response. Taking a deep breath, Lily squared her shoulders. Every single self-doubt, every cutting remark from this boy, fueled her determination. "I know that I am more than what you see. I know that I can choose my own path." There was a tremor in her voice, but it carried a weight that drew the crowd in. For an instant, she held their gaze. She shared her story of struggle, of the sleepless nights studying and toiling away at the diner, hoping for a scholarship that seemed just out of reach. She told them about her dream of college, the chance to rewrite her story, a story that wasn't defined by whispers and a past she could outgrow. Jake's smirk faltered. The shifting crowd drew closer, the power of her words creating a bridge between her and those she thought might never understand her. But just as Lily found strength, the laughter that erupted from the crowd was mixed with surprise and awe. Does she really think she can make it? Someone whispered, sending a shiver down her spine. Instead of feeling defeated, it propelled her forward. Every one of us has a choice, Lily said, voice now steady, like the steel of her resolve. To rise above, or to remain stuck in the past. This town can be a place of dreams, or just a graveyard for them. I choose dreams. The air felt electric. She had their attention. But just as she thought she might turn this moment into something transformative, a resounding clap echoed through the crowd. It was Mark, the CEO from the fair, pushing through the throng with an approving smile on his face. Lily, he called, his voice rich and reassuring, I believe in you. Those words settled over her like a fresh breeze. The townsfolk looked at each other, a new energy sparking among them. But just when she felt the tide turning, the ground shifted again. A shadow lingered behind her, a figure she hadn't anticipated. It was her mother, pain etched across her tired features, unable to hide the hurt from her daughter's defiance. Lily, her mother said softly, creating a moment laden with tension. Each eye in the crowd shifted back to the duel of emotions between mother and daughter. As uncertainty loomed, Lily's heart raced. Did this mean her fight was just beginning? And what would happen if her mother didn't approve? Would she have the strength to continue? Or would the wounds of family expectations weigh her down yet again? Lily's breath caught as she faced her mother. The world around them faded, noise transforming into a muted backdrop. All her rehearsed lines swirled in her mind like fallen leaves caught in a winter breeze. She just stood in front of a crowd gathered with hope in their eyes, and now the one person from whom she most sought approval stood before her, eyes glistening with disappointment. Why are you doing this? Her mother asked, voice trembling. It was a familiar tone, one she heard far too often, laden with worry and the weight of unfulfilled dreams. You're just going to end up hurt. We can't be anything more than what we are. The crowd held their breath, caught between two forces. The hopeful girl they had begun to believe in, and the mother who represented the fear of dreams unchased. A flicker of panic surged through Lily. Her heart raced, unsure if she wanted to crumble at her mother's words or stand tall against them. Mom, can't you see? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Our past doesn't determine our future. She wanted to reach out for her mother's hand, to bridge that chasm of misunderstanding that had grown over the years. But she couldn't show weakness, not now. So you think you can just throw everything away for some fantasy? Her mother shot back, the pain evident in her furrowed brow. What if it's not worth it? Before Lily could respond, the crowd began whispering again, a wave of tension crackling in the air. But alongside that tension, there was a sense of solidarity. Their shared hopes began to echo against the backdrop of her mother's doubts. Mark, sensing the shift in the energy, stepped forward. Lily is right, he said, his gaze firm and steady as he addressed the mother. We all have a spark inside us, the power to ignite change. I've seen people pull themselves from the depths, right here in this town. All eyes turned from Lily to Mark, the promise of possibility reflected in their expressions. You can deny it all you want, he continued, but we can choose to believe in our dreams. We can lift each other up. That's what makes a community strong. Lily felt a swell of hope rise. Mark was speaking the truth, she had to believe that. But her mother's pained eyes weighed heavy on her conscience. What would it mean to step into that light with her mother still standing in the darkness? Tears prickled at the corners of her eyes. Mom, I know you're scared. I'm scared, too. But if I don't try, what will I have? A silence hung between them, thick with tension. The crowd watched, something profound brewing beneath the surface as they awaited the next turn. Jake, still lurking to the side, watched with an unexpected seriousness. Her mother's expression softened for just a moment, and Lily's heart leaped. Could this be a moment of understanding? A chance for her mother to finally really see her beyond the waitress, beyond the town. But as hope bloomed in her chest, the storm clouds gathered again when Jake interjected, breaking the fragile moment. Lily, you're fighting for a dream that doesn't exist. You think a few words and some encouragement from a CEO is going to change your life? He stepped closer, arms crossed, challenging her resolutely. It's all just a pipe dream. Lily turned to him, fire igniting within her. No, Jake. It's not just words. It's a chance for everyone who feels trapped to believe in something better. The roar of energy swelled again. Behind her, she sensed the crowd rallying, their murmurs climbing into a cadence of support. She focused on that instead of the undulating tide of her mother's uncertainty. As the shadows of doubt and fear loomed overhead, she stood taller, invigorated by the voices urging her on. But deep within, a ripple of concern lingered. What was the cost if her mother didn't come along with her? Just then, a loud rumble of thunder shook the ground, an unexpected twist in the weather, blaring like a warning. A storm was brewing, and with it came the reminder that not all paths are easy, nor is acceptance guaranteed. What would that storm bring? Would Lily's journey ignite a fire in her mother's heart, or would it only deepen the divide? As she faced both Jake's scorn and her mother's worry, uncertainty hung in the air like a dark cloud threatening to burst. What choice would she make? And would it lead her to the acceptance she craved, or further into the storm? The thunder cracked again, louder this time, rattling Lily's bones and shaking the very core of her resolve. She turned back to her mother, the silence now deafening. All she could focus on was the faint tremor in her mom's chin and the way her shoulders slightly slumped. Do you really think this is about some fanciful wish or whim? Lily's voice wavered, cracking under the weight of her emotions. I've watched you fight every day just to make ends meet. I can't let that be everything. I won't settle for just surviving when I could thrive. Her words rolled off her tongue, mingling with the tension in the air. It was true, she had seen her mother work hard, facing disappointment with every shift at the diner. But Lily also remembered the spark, the fire in her mother's eyes before life's hardships dimmed them. Wasn't it worth fighting for that light to shine again? Mom, please. It was less of a plea and more of a demand, an unyielding cry from her heart. She took a tentative step forward, brows knitted together with worry. What if I can change the path for us? For everyone? I believe it's possible. But her mother's gaze flickered, haunted. Lily, you don't understand. Some dreams are just that, dreams. Her tone was softer now, almost weary. It's better to be practical, to guard your heart. No. I don't want to guard my heart, I want to live. Lily's frustration boiled over. The crowd tightened around them, a mix of gasps and murmurs echoing through the tightening tension. Lily could feel the energy shift once more, this time a wave of empathy washing over the gathered crowd. They weren't just spectators anymore, they were invested. She could sense their collective belief fueling her, igniting the fight within her. Mark stepped forward again. Kathy, he addressed her mother by name, his tone respectful yet assertive. Lily is brave and strong. She is fighting not just for herself, but for dreams we all have buried deep inside us. If you can find the courage to support her even a little, who knows what that could spark. With every word, Lily felt her mother's walls crack open, just a fraction. She took a deep breath, reaching for whatever flicker of hope remained between them. If you could dream again, just for a moment, wouldn't you want to chase it with me? Even just to see what's possible. A long silence followed, making time feel like it had come to a standstill. Her mother's conflict lay bare, a battle between fear and love. Would she linger in the shadow of hesitation, or step into the light with Lily? Then, from somewhere deep within, a burst of wind scattered the clouds above them. The storm had arrived in earnest, the first drops of rain splatting against the pavement, pulling everyone's attention skyward. It felt like a sign, an awakening of sorts. Lily, her mother hesitated, then looked at the crowd, at the hopeful faces staring back. A flicker of fire ignited in her eyes, and for the first time, a glimmer of possibility sparked in the air between mother and daughter. But just then, Jake's cold words sliced through the fragile moment. "It's all just a fairy tale, Lily. If you're not careful, you'll be left standing in the rain, alone and disappointed." "Shut up, Jake." A voice from the crowd shouted, emboldening others to join. Lily felt buoyed, the tide of support rising around her. As the rain intensified, Lily's heart raced. Would her mother choose to believe with her? Or would she shrink back once more into a shell? The answer was still tangled in the chaos of emotions swirling around. "Mom," Lily spoke again, voice filled with both firmness and pleading, "I need to know that you're with me." The thunder rolled one last time, echoing her fears as they stood on the brink of something life-changing. "Will you take that step with me? Or will we be trapped here forever?" The moment hung heavy, thick with uncertainty. Just like the storm above. The answer loomed, yet remained achingly out of reach. What would it take for her mother to leap into the unknown alongside her? Would the storm clear the way to acceptance, or further plunge them into darkness? The rain began to fall in earnest, droplets cascading from the darkened sky like tiny needles, each one a reminder of the gravity of the moment. Lily's heart pounded in her chest, resonating with the thunder above. She could hardly breathe. "Mom," she said, her voice breaking. "Look at me." Her mother's gaze flickered from the stormy sky back to her, a mixture of fear and uncertainty swirling in her eyes. "You taught me to dream. You taught me the power of hope." With each word, the gathered crowd leaned in closer, their collective energy becoming a palpable force around her. Lily felt it, she could sense their unwavering belief, their willingness to take a leap of faith right alongside her. She wasn't alone. "Believe with me," she urged. "We can change everything. We have so much more to give, and I know this city has dreams waiting to be fulfilled." At the edge of her consciousness, she sensed Jake, standing tall and defiant, but he was just a shadow now. She had come too far to be swayed by his doubt. "I can't go back to living a lie, to pretending that life is fine when I know there's more." "When you know there's more," she said, her gaze moving back to her mother. "Just take my hand. Please. Together, we can break free from this." Kathy's face seemed to soften, the harsh lines of worry around her mouth gradually easing. The rain fell heavier, soaking through their clothes, but Lily hardly noticed. A spark ignited in her mother's eyes, just enough to push against the storm brewing within her. What if you're right?" Kathy whispered, as if the words were escaping before she could even think them through. "What if I did let myself hope again? What if?" Lily's heart skipped a beat. She saw the flicker of possibility grow as rain continued to drench them both. "Yes. That's it," she exclaimed, her passion bursting forth. "It's not too late to dream big. You can still be courageous, Mom. We can do this." Around them, the crowd murmured in encouragement, gathering strength from the exchange. But suddenly, Jake couldn't just observe. "You're being irresponsible, Lily. Chasing dreams won't fill your stomach. This is just wishful thinking. Nothing good ever comes from chasing fairy tales." His voice was sharp, aimed like a dagger at the heart of her resolve. But deep down, she could sense her mother's energy shifting, unraveling the tether Jake had tried to bind around them. "Shoo," she heard someone from the crowd whisper. "Let them talk. They have to speak their truth." The words were enough for Kathy. She straightened, and Lily felt the collective breath of everyone around them, all waiting for Kathy to find her voice amid the chaos. "Maybe fear kept me from stepping forward for too long," her mother finally said, as the rain poured down like a cleansing flood. But Lily, you've shown me that hope isn't just a fantasy. It's real. It's possible. Her voice grew steadier, filled with newfound strength. You're right, and you deserve more than just survival. We'll try for something greater, together. Lily couldn't contain the smile spreading across her face, tears mingling with the rain. The moment had shifted, and she could feel the promise of transformation hanging in the air, bright against the stormy backdrop. Then, with the weight of that acknowledgement, a powerful gust of wind swept through, scattering leaves and debris. The tension that had gripped the crowd began to lift, replaced by a palpable energy of renewed possibilities. Suddenly, from the back of the crowd, a stranger called out, "What's next for all of us? Are you going to just wait for it? Or fight for your dreams?" Lily's heart raced as hope surged through her. "Fight!" she shouted back, igniting the crowd further. But behind her, a cold chill crept back as she caught sight of Jake, his expression now frozen in disbelief. He was, for once, at a loss for words. What was brewing beneath the surface of their encounter? Would this spark ignite a fire that would change everything, or would he find a way to extinguish it and tug them back into the darkness? And so, the rain continued to fall, washing away the remnants of doubt as the crowd shifted into a chant and anthem of courage, rallying the broken dreams back into life. Lily turned back to her mother, a question trembling on her lips. "What do we fight for next, Mom?" The storm swirled around them, echoing both the urgency of change and the fleeting nature of their revelation. Would they stand against the winds of doubt, or succumb to the storm? Kathy looked deep into Lily's eyes, the rain soaking her hair, but it was as if a light started to shine through the clouds of their uncertainty. "We fight for each other, Lily. We fight for our dreams to make this city better, for anyone who feels trapped like we did." A surge of applause rippled through the crowd, igniting something profound among them. Faces, once shadows of discontent, now lit up with hope. Lily could feel the energy shift, lifting everyone higher, pulling them together in an unbreakable bond of purpose. Jake stood still, his arms crossed tightly over his chest. Doubt was etched into his features, a stark contrast to the fervor of everyone else. "This is crazy," he shouted over the storm. "You're all going to get hurt. You don't even know what you're asking for." But his words fell flat. The crowd surged forward, chanting louder, a wave of unity washing away his skepticism. Lily took a step closer to him, a fierce determination radiating from her core. "Maybe we'd rather risk getting hurt than live in apathy. Don't you see? That's the real pain." He stared at her, seemingly caught between disbelief and a glimmer of concern. "You think it'll just all fall into place? Dreams don't just happen because you want them," he spat, frustration bubbling over. "Yeah, maybe," Lily cried back, her heart pounding in her throat. "But if we don't try, we'll never know. And I can't let fear control my life anymore. None of us should." Kathy stepped forward, placing a hand on Lily's shoulder, steadying her. "We won't turn back, Jake. Whatever the outcome is, we choose to hope. Hope is what brings us together." The crowd murmured in agreement, a chorus of determination rising above the storm. Then, with one unexpected step, a man in the crowd stood up, a stranger, yet someone who felt familiar in that moment. "I'm tired of waiting. Tired of feeling lost. We've let this city push us down for too long." Lily turned to him, her heart racing. "Yes. We can build our own opportunities. We can be a part of the change. Then let us get to work." The man roared, excitement sparking in the air. "Let us create something beautiful from this chaos." The crowd erupted into cheers, the rain felt less cold now. It was a baptism of sorts, washing away the past's regrets and fears. Lily felt a rush of adrenaline mixed with sheer joy. They were all in this together, ready to fight for their dreams, their city. Yet, as voices surged and enthusiasm peaked, she glanced back at Jake. His expression was unreadable, and it sent a shiver down her spine. Was there any way to pull him in with them? "Jake," she said softly, breaking through the noise, "don't you want to be a part of this? Don't you want to fight for something worth believing in?" He hesitated, the clouds overhead rumbling as if echoing the turmoil inside him. But just as the moment seemed ripe for a breakthrough, he turned away, shaking his head. "You don't get it. This is just a fantasy." Lily's heart sank. Yet, she knew this was only the beginning. "Mom, we'll keep fighting, no matter what." As the crowd rallied around her, Lily felt a sense of purpose blooming within her, filled with hope and determination. But deep down, the question loomed: what if Jake was right? What if the path to their dreams became even harder than she imagined? The rain battered down, but it couldn't drown out their voices. Together, united in a future they all wanted to believe in. And as they began to make plans, a hush fell over the crowd, a collective breath held. "How do we start?" someone asked, filled with anticipation. Lily looked at her mother, then at the sea of determined faces, and a flicker of fear danced at the edges of her mind. "We start by believing, but how far can belief take us? The storm may have passed, but the journey ahead was just beginning. Would they be ready for the trials that would test their resolve?" Lily felt the weight of the crowd's anticipation settle on her, a palpable energy that sparked excitement and anxiety in equal measure. They were all looking to her, to each other, hoping for clarity in their tumultuous desire to drive change. The rain continued to pour, a cold reminder of their struggles, yet it somehow felt more invigorating than oppressive now. "What do we want to change?" she called out, her voice steadying with purpose. "What does this city need?" "Jobs," someone shouted from the back, and the response fueled the fire. "A safe community. A place where we can thrive." With each exclamation, Lily felt her heart race faster, their collective hopes spiraling into something beautiful, something possible. She imagined new sidewalks, vibrant community gardens, and murals that celebrated their stories. "Let us write down our ideas," she said, confidently, inspiring others to take action. "We can create a vision for our city, together." The roar of agreement surged, with people nodding, shouting, and scooting closer, eager to be part of this momentum. They pulled out their phones, old notebooks, anything to jot thoughts down. Kathy wrapped her arm around Lily, her support a steadying force. As Lily watched the crowd come alive with enthusiasm, her thoughts drifted back to Jake. She wished he could feel this too, understand the significance of what was happening. But he stood off to the side, an island of doubt amidst a sea of belief. "Jake!" Lily called again, her voice slicing through the cheers. "You can join us. We need your ideas, your skills." For a moment, he seemed to waver, the corner of his mouth twitching. But then that wall went up, the defiance hardening his face once again. "I just can't, Lily. This is all a pipe dream," he shouted, as if he wanted to convince himself as much as anyone else. Lily's heart ached. She turned back to the crowd, trying to push the disappointment aside. These people needed her, needed all of them to see something beyond the struggle. "Let us start with small wins," she proposed, her voice ringing out. "Let us clean up our neighborhoods, volunteer our time, and build relationships with each other. If we can show that we care, it'll inspire others to join us." The idea took off, with the crowd buzzing with possibilities. "We can organize a community cleanup day," someone suggested, and an avalanche of voices echoed in agreement. Just then, a flash of lightning illuminated the night sky, and in that second, it felt like a sign of their impending victory, their collective spark. The enthusiasm reached a crescendo as they began to create an action plan, mapping out neighborhoods and committees, all driven by purpose. But that joy was tinged with an unease. As inspiration soared, doubt reminded her of the long battle ahead. Could they really capture this momentum? Was all of this just a reaction to the moment? While they planned, a deep rumble of thunder seemed to underline her growing fears. What if people don't show up? She whispered to Kathy, frustration creeping in. What if we fail to make a difference? Kathy squeezed her shoulder, her voice firm yet gentle. Even if it's just one person who feels a spark, we're moving in the right direction. Change starts small, Lily. Yeah, small, she echoed, trying to convince herself. Then, just as plans evolved, a man stepped forward from the rear, the same stranger who had sparked enthusiasm before. And what if we could partner with local businesses? He paused, looking around. They'd want to invest in their community, and that could make a real difference. Cheers erupted again. Together, they were creating options, formulating ways to reach their goals. An hour passed like a whirlwind of inspiration, and fatigue turned into determination. Yet, through all of this energy and hope, Lily's mind kept drifting back to Jake. He was still distancing himself, and she felt the heaviness of the weight that being divided carried. He could be so important to them, if only he could shake off his disbelief. And just as she decided to approach him one last time, a chilling breeze swept through the air, the clouds rolling back overhead, as if nature itself was holding its breath. Lily! Someone called out, and she turned, her pulse quickening. What if we really can do this? Maybe, she said, her heart pounding. But what if there's a bigger obstacle waiting for us, the kind that can't be solved with just our community strength? The crowd quieted at her words, uncertainty creeping in. Could they truly fathom what lay ahead? As they stared into the shadowed skyline, Lily's resolve hardened. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. But deep down, she knew this battle was only beginning. They had taken the first step, but would it be enough to sustain them through the storm that loomed? The wind howled as oppressive clouds swirled above them, intensifying the tension that clung to the air. Lily glanced at the faces surrounding her, illuminated by the fading light. The spark of hope remained, but uncertainty hung there too, heavy and real. People shifted nervously, waiting for a signal. What could she say that would anchor their resolve? Okay, everyone, she started, raising her hands, let us regroup for a moment. A hush fell over the crowd, a testament to how tightly woven they had all become in just a short time. We've thrown around lots of ideas tonight. Let us narrow them down. A few voices murmured affirmations. Lily could see the anticipation build again, the energy coiling, like a spring. Maybe our first goal can be something simple, she continued. A neighborhood event to bring people together. Something that lets everyone know they're not alone in this fight for change. Like a festival or fair. Someone shouted from the back. Yes. She exclaimed, her heart racing. A community day where local artists can showcase their work, businesses can set up stalls, and we can have food trucks. Let us provide something for everyone. Excitement rippled through the crowd. Ideas began to flow again, more tangible, more palpable than before. Let us add workshops too. Kathy chimed in. We could teach skills for job seekers. Or gardening tips for community gardens. Shouted another enthusiastic voice. Lily felt a flush of warmth, pride swelling in her chest at the creativity bursting forth. They were all in this together, and she was right where she was meant to be, amplifying voices, igniting passion. But there was Jake, standing quietly, a silent observer. His arms were crossed tightly across his chest, and frustration etched his features. Lily longed to pull him into the fold. Jake, she called out, breaking from the hive of ideas. What do you think? You were always the one with the biggest dreams. Help us craft this into something real. He hesitated, casting a glance at the crowd, and then back at her. It just seems pointless, he said. The air shifted, the hopeful energy dimming slightly as if his words drew a dark curtain over their plans. Pointless? She repeated, searching for a way to bridge the gap between them. This is our chance to show you that we can make a difference, starting today. Lily, Jake continued, shaking his head. Talking about it won't change a thing. We need real funds, real resources to make anything happen. For a moment, despair clawed at her. But what about community? What about unity? Aren't we stronger together? He stood firm, his conviction a stone wall against her emotions. Frustration tinged with sorrow hooked in her throat. Did he really not see it? As the crowd buzzed with ideas, the whole atmosphere shifted back to excitement, but a knot remained in her stomach. What if we put together a list of local businesses we could reach out to for support? A woman suggested, and the crowd rallied behind her. We can leverage our connections. Turning the conversation back to action pulled Lily from her spiral. Yes, let us make notes of everyone we know that might want to help. Maybe we can combine efforts with other community groups looking for sponsors or grants, she added, her voice echoing the determination bouncing around her. As names and ideas streamed from the crowd, Lily felt her earlier doubts recede. They could create something real, not just a moment of passion, but a movement. The rumble of thunder returned, low and rumbling, but now it felt less threatening, more like a call to action. Amid the spirited chatter, crosstalk, and nodding heads, a sense of belonging emerged. All they needed was a leap of faith, and she could see the beginning of something beautiful in their eyes. But as everyone collaborated so valiantly, the shadow of doubt still loomed over Jake. Could they truly rally together against the obstacles they would inevitably face? Just as Lily began to draft a short list of local businesses, she heard a voice call out behind her, soft but as clear as the rain. Pattering on concrete. What if we fail? The crowd quieted again, each eye turning towards the darkening sky. For the first time since their meeting began, fear seeped in. What if this isn't enough? Lily's heartbeat raced. How would they bridge this daunting gap? The winds whirled violently, casting a chill around the group. But maybe what we accomplish here tonight can inspire change outside of this moment, she proposed, searching for reasons to push forward. Pausing for effect, she continued, the real question isn't whether we'll fail, but how much we believe we can succeed. And at that moment, she realized her heart wasn't just shouting against the storm, it was pleading against it. What if this journey was merely the beginning, and the real test lay in staying united when the winds of doubt blew strongest? The wind picked up, rustling the leaves and scattering bits of paper that had been left on the ground. Lily stood there, her heart pounding, eyes darting across the crowd. She could sense the mix of hope and uncertainty vibrating around her, like an orchestra warming up but not yet playing the song. Let us brainstorm ways to get our message out there, she pressed, that fervor in her voice gaining strength. We can create flyers, use social media. We need everyone to know about this event. Good idea, said Kathy, her enthusiasm igniting a fresh spark. A promotion campaign would get the word out. Jake remained agonizingly still, his doubts weighing heavy in the air. The more positivity that washed over them, the more he seemed to shrug it off. Every great movement starts small, another voice chimed in from the crowd. This community day could ignite something larger. Lily felt the weight of those words. She was determined not to let Jake's skepticism dim the dawning light of their efforts. Even if we don't know where this will lead, she interjected, her voice steady, imagine if just one person from this event finds their purpose. That would make it worth it, right? A ripple of agreement passed through the crowd, but Lily caught sight of Jake again, frowning deeply. Yes, but what if we disappoint them, he murmured under his breath, just loud enough for Lily to hear. Disappointment is a part of growth, she said, stepping closer, her eyes locking onto his. Even in failure, we learn. Isn't that worth the risk? He held her gaze for a moment, and in that silence, a sort of understanding flickered between them like the distant rumble of thunder. But it was short-lived, and Jake looked away, his expression clouded by apprehension. As ideas flowed freely, Lily felt infused with energy. People began to bounce ideas off one another about performers and workshops. Someone mentioned inviting local musicians to play, and it was met with thunderous applause. She was swept up in the excitement, convinced they could turn this vision into reality. Yet in the back of her mind, Jake's voice echoed, "What if we fail?" It felt like a whispering ghost haunting her thoughts. The storm outside mirrored that unrest, winds howling, clouds darkening. "Okay, let's talk about logistics," Lily suggested, pulling everyone back together. "We need a timeline, roles, who's responsible for what." The people began to organize themselves, chairs scooting forward as they took notes. A couple of hands shot up with volunteers eager to help. It was exhilarating, but as Lily explained the next steps, her mind lingered on Jake. "Jake," she began hesitantly. "You're not concerned about the details, you're worried about the bigger picture. What do you truly want out of this?" He paused, the crowd's chaos falling away for just a moment. "I want this community to thrive," he admitted, a flicker of vulnerability breaking through his stoic demeanor. I don't think we can pull that off with this event." "What makes us think we have the power?" The crowd faded back into the background as Lily took a breath, feeling the tension trending towards a climax. The atmosphere thickened with uncertain anticipation as silent eyes watched their confrontation unfold. "Because change begins with us, Jake. We need a starting point," Lily insisted, her resolve firm. "Maybe it starts small, but that doesn't make it any less meaningful. We have to believe in the power of community, of hope. To inspire each other." But doubt stood between them, a wall that felt insurmountable. As the townspeople echoed Lily's spirited words, she noticed Jake's expression soften, if only slightly. Could they break through that wall, together? "Let's make it a goal to show him," Kathy said, nudging him. "Let's knock those doubts down one by one." The storm outside rumbled louder, an unnerving reminder of the challenges ahead. But there was also a spark of something else, a shared purpose born from conflict, a chance at unity paving the way. With a final glance at the cloudy horizon, Lily took a deep breath. "Let's move forward, no matter the risks. Together." Just as they began to pick up the pace, there was a flash of lightning, illuminating the corners of the gathering. It lit up the faces around her, stirring something deep inside Lily. And in that brief moment, she understood their fight wasn't merely about this event, it was for belief itself. "Tomorrow, we'll need to meet again and start contacting businesses," she declared, heart racing. "But first, we need to talk to the community leaders. They have the connections we seek. We can do this." And as the wind howled anew, she couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was on the horizon, waiting just beyond the edge of uncertainty. What if this storm wasn't just a barrier but a signal of the challenges they needed to face together? As the rain hammered down around them, testifying to their resolve, Lily stood at the forefront of the crowd, acutely aware of the storm's intensity. This wasn't just a weather crisis, it was a symbolic confrontation with the elements of fear and doubt that they had battled for so long. Murmurs fluttered through the air as the townsfolk rallied around her, eager for change. "Together, we can turn this town into the place we want it to be," Lily called out, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We've suffered enough in silence. Let us work together, hand in hand, to lift each other up." Behind her, her mother nodded, the weight that had burdened her spirit slowly lifting. Kathy's eyes sparkled with the glimmer of a dream reignited. This wasn't just about Lily anymore. It was a resurrection of hope for both of them. From the sidelines, Jake remained skeptical but reluctantly intrigued. The fleeting moment of vulnerability he had shared opened a crack in his walls. Yet, uncertainty intertwined with his thoughts, leaving him hesitant to step forward. Lily caught his eye, determination flooding her veins. "Jake, I know you're skeptical, but I believe we can make a difference. Together, we can inspire everyone, even those who don't believe in us right now." His silence hung thick, creating a vacuum filled with the weight of unspoken words. Just then, a young girl in the crowd shouted, "I'll help out with social media." That simple statement sparked a cascade of offers. One after another, the townsfolk began to voice their desire to contribute baking goods for the event, setting up booths, painting banners. With each promise, Lily felt their collective energy grow stronger around her. "See?" she urged Jake, pointing toward the excitement swirling around them. "This is what happens when we share our hope. It feeds off each other." Jake rubbed the back of his neck, his brows knitted in contemplation, caught between doubt and a yearning to break free from his own chains. "They just want to escape their reality," he finally muttered under his breath, still hesitant, but Lily could see the shadows of a budding hope in his face. "Don't you want that too?" Lily shot back gently, taking a step closer, her hand reaching out involuntarily, aching for connection. "We can create our own future, Jake. You don't have to stand on the sidelines anymore." In that moment, she felt the crowd shift, their shared vulnerability bridging the gaps between the hopeful and the hesitant. Kathy stepped forward, voice unwavering. "You see that spark in our hearts?" she asked. "We can choose to fan the flame. There is strength in vulnerability. Embrace it." The sentiment resonated within Jake, she could feel it. As the thunder rumbled overhead, his walls began to crack. "Maybe," he finally whispered. Lily's heart soared. "That's it. Just take a leap of faith and join us, Jake. We can create something beautiful." Behind her, the crowd erupted into a round of applause. People were starting to see through the storm, and now it was Jake's turn to step forward toward change, toward acceptance, and toward responsibility. With newfound determination in his eyes, Jake took a deep breath, allowing a tentative smile to escape a reflection of the warmth blooming around him. "Okay," he agreed, the word carrying the weight of countless battles fought. "Let us do this." Lily's heart felt as light as a feather as she embraced him, the moment bridging their differences and igniting an unstoppable force. Then, as if on cue, the rain began to lighten, the storm dissipating overhead, a clear signal of their shared resolve. In that moment, they were more than just a gathering in the rain, they were a community poised for transformation, ready to fight for the dreams they thought were beyond their reach. "Tomorrow, we move," Lily shouted, her spirit fully alight with purpose. "Let us spread our message and gather everyone together. This is just the beginning." The crowd roared in agreement, their hearts linked now, their dreams a collective vision bright and shining against the remnants of the storm. The road ahead may be uncertain, but they were no longer lost. And so, they took that first step forward into the light, toward acceptance, into a future they would shape together. Now it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to make a difference. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.